Okay. All right, so welcome everybody. My name is Jasmine Henderson, and I am the CEO and founder of Positive Women Meetup LLC, which is an empowerment, personal, and professional development platform for women, specifically for Black women, because I love my people. All right, so we have a special guest today. Her name is Jasmine Henderson, and she is a mental health professional, and she is also an artist. More specifically, she and her siblings do Black art. I love it. I'll let her tell you more about that later. But today we are going to be having a mental health chat. We're going to be talking about coping with feeling Black at work. Raise your hand if you can find your little hand symbol. Those of you in the Zoom chat, if you've ever felt Black at work, just raise your hand, or you can type in the chat box, Black at work. I know that we all have probably shared that feeling at a time or two or three in our career, in our work history, okay? If you're joining us on Instagram, thank you for joining us, all right? We have people on Zoom and we have people on Instagram. We're taking questions from everybody who registered on Zoom. I also want to highlight that this virtual meetup is sponsored by Rastafari Braid. Everybody who is on the Zoom will be able to get Rastafari Braid hair product. It's braiding hair. We have a lot of different varieties and styles, and we will be emailing you those instructions after the virtual meetup today. So again, without further ado, I just want to welcome Jasmine Henderson. Jasmine, what's up?
What's up? Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great today. Awesome.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Happy Friday. So
happy Friday.
The end of the work week. Some of us might work on the weekend, but Friday is usually the period at the end of a work week. Our first question, we're just going to jump right in because this is a time virtual meetup on Zoom. I don't want Zoom hating on us at the end, cutting us off. So let's jump right in. Can you tell us more about yourself and what you are passionate about?
Yes, absolutely. So as you said, I'm Jasmine Henderson. I have a master's degree in clinical mental health, and I am a national certified counselor. So I am really, and I'm an artist as well, as Kiana said, with Artsy Black and with my siblings. Yes. And so I'm passionate really about helping people, empowering people, really talking about and getting people comfortable with mental health. It's a big thing. Mm-hmm. It's important. So. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Tell me a little, this is just off the cuff, but so you're passionate about mental health. What made you go that route? What started your passion or that fire burning inside of you?
Good question. Okay. So really, I've always been a helper, and it took me some time to kind of really try to figure out exactly in what way. So at first I was, helping people in higher education. And what I realized when I was working with students is, wow, mental health really impacts their education and it impacts their daily lives. And you can't really do anything if your mental health isn't checked.
Yes, say that again. Say it one more time.
You can't do anything if your mental health isn't checked. Right. So I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to be able to understand. So I went back to school, got my master's degree in clinical mental health. And I'm just so glad I did, because for Black people, we deal with a lot of stuff, and, we have mental health issues too. And there's not a lot of Black faces. I mean, you're starting to see them now, but, we need mental health, we need counseling, but a lot of us don't really want to go or don't feel comfortable. So the statistics show that, Black people need it the most, but they don't go as often, or they stop their treatment well before they should. So that to me was kind of like, whoa, that's not good. We need more of us. And we'll be more comfortable if there was a Black person in the room, whether it be a man or a woman, and they can at least understand what we're going through, and we could say, all right, this is what's really going on, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can help you, you know.
Yes,
So
yes. Okay, well, I just want to say, they usually say this to people in the military, but I feel like it's good for mental health professionals too. Thank you for your service. Because
thank you.
you're welcome. Because you are taking, so Black people, all right, as a race, we have a lot of trauma that is hereditary. We have trauma that is hereditary, right? And for you to be on the front lines and say, I want to be the change that I want to see. Again, I say this all the time, sis, I'm giving you your roses now, because you are not only still dealing with what you're dealing with, right, in your personal life, but you're saying, hey, I want to be a helpmeet to my Black sisters and brothers, and, help them to heal, help them to understand how important mental health is. Because some of us don't even think about it. We don't even think that that's a part of like the health spectrum, right? We're just like, okay, this happened to me. I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to do what I got to do. I just got to get past it. And it just steadily builds on the trauma that we have. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to move on to our next question.
You are welcome.
So,
thank you.
You're welcome. As a mental health professional, what does your work focus on specifically now? So I know you just got your master's degree, and I know that before you were working like some with students and things like that. What does your work focus on now, or what do you want your work to focus on?
Okay. So my thing is complete wellness. So it's not just your mental health. I think it starts there, but it impacts everything. So it's impacting your mental health, your physical health, emotional, spiritual. When any of those things are out of whack, you're not going to be fully you. So my thing is really trying to help you discover those things. What is that need for you? Really kind of addressing how you react to things, how you act, how you think. All of those things are important. The awareness of it is really important, because once you're aware of why you feel the way you feel, then you can change it and you can grow from it. If you don't have any idea, then you're just kind of going through life blindly, and it's going to be difficult for you to really, figure out, well, what's really happening and how can I navigate this?
Right. So you approach it from like an educational standpoint to just get people to understand from like the beginning and then work through things, right?
Right. So that can happen in the therapy room, but then there's also work that you want to do outside of that too. So you do want to do things outside, like self-help stuff too. So I think it's good to, educate people in the therapy room and outside to help them do the work.
Wow. Okay, great. So what are some real quick, off the cuff, I always say this, I like to be as organized as possible with these things, but you're just inspiring me to kind of like segue into other things. So like real quick, like what are 2 self-help things that you think that, or techniques, or, I'm not sure really what to call them. But what are 2 things that people can do for their own like self-help or self-care or self-preservation?
Okay. So one of the things that I truly believe is important is working through your feelings. So I feel like, as children, we're not always taught exactly to how to express them. So a lot of times children have difficulties with it, but then you become an adult and then you're still dealing with things, but it may not be in a way where people are like, what's wrong with her? Like, why is she acting like that? So
Right.
I think that it's really important to work through your feelings. So I do have a mental health blog, exploringmywellness.com, where I every Friday help people to work through a different feeling and ask themselves deep questions that can get them to thinking about, why do I react this way? What does this feeling actually feel like to me? Because everybody's feelings are not the same. We don't feel them the same, and physically it may not feel the same. So really trying to uncover that. So that's one thing. The other thing is really to focus on you, and that means what do you value? What do you enjoy? Like, what is like your pride and joy? And I feel like starting there can really be helpful, because you really need to, you forget it. A lot of times you do forget it with just daily tasks that you're doing. You forget about yourself. But if you are not good, you're not going to be as productive as you could be. So
Mhm.
I think really taking that time for yourself, focusing on you, resting,
Right.
you know.
These are all such simple things, but it's like when the last time you thought about it? I know for myself personally, and we're gonna move on to the next question, but sometimes I feel guilty for just stopping and just not doing anything. I'm like, look, I need
Yeah.
to get my lazy self up. What am I doing? I can't just be laying here. I can't take a nap. I have time for a nap. Nap is for kids. Like, I find myself telling myself those type of things, like, and then, thankfully, my husband, he'll say, you need to go take a nap, or you just need to sit down, or you're not doing anything right now. You just, take a little time for yourself. And I feel so bad still, but it's something that we need to put into practice. You've just confirmed that. So thank you for the therapy session. Send me my invoice. Because you just confirmed that, for me at least, and I'm sure for other people on the call. Sasha, I see your hand
Yeah.
raised. We have a guest with their an attendee. I'm sorry, with their hand raised. I will get to you, Sasha. I will not forget. All right.
Yeah.
So question number 3: have you ever felt black at work? And explain to us that black at work feeling and how it can affect the psyche of a black person.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Uh-oh, when they
Too
clap,
many
it's real.
times.
She said, oh my gosh. When you clap, when you talk, it's real.
Yeah.
Too many times. And it's kind of like you said, it's a
Uh-oh. Hold on, Jasmine, hold on. Okay, there you go. Go, Jasmine. Wait, no, Jasmine. For some reason, we have some interference. Jasmine, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but you know
Okay.
what? That's just the devil trying
Listen, on
to
that
paint
question.
while we trying to be great over here.
Right. Okay, we're ready.
All right, so now I done got all messed up. So you
Black
said,
at
have
work.
I ever felt
Okay.
black
Have
at
you ever
work?
felt black at work? Yes. And explain
Okay.
that black at work feeling.
All right. So yeah, being black at work, it's not a good feeling
At all.
because it's traumatic. So I was saying it's traumatic, and that means that you're gonna feel things mentally and physically.
Mm-hmm.
So it triggers depression, anxiety, stress. So it's going to affect how you sleep, how you eat. It's going to affect your self-esteem. You're going to start doubting yourself. You might, oh man, there's just so many things. You might start doubting yourself. So lack of confidence, questioning yourself. You're being criticized for being who you are, and that's not right. So yeah, it's affecting those things. You begin to worry. So some things mentally that then affect you physically are, you might be going to work with a nervous stomach. You don't want to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting headaches. You're getting high blood pressure now. Your heart rate is being increased because you're always on the defense, because you're going to have to, stand up for yourself, which is a good thing, that we should stand up for ourselves. But man, it can be brutal just trying to
just thinking about that.
Yeah.
I know I would feel like, I would, so in two of my past jobs, I would feel like defeated before I even walked into work. I'd be like, man, I got to deal with this one right here today. Whoever that specific person was, I know she's going to come in my office talking crazy.
Yeah.
I know she's going to say this or that. I know he or them, they're going to be making these racist jokes, that they're passing off as, funny or whatever. I know that I would wake up. I had one specific job when this was probably about 10 years ago. I was pregnant with my daughter, and at first I just thought I was being a little emotional, but even before I had her, this would happen. That's when it started happening, before I was pregnant with her, and then it just kind of spiraled. But I would cry before I went to work. And I was like, okay, at first I was like, maybe I'm just being emotional. But when I started really reviewing the things that were happening to me at that job, I was like, no, this is probably causing it to come up for me more because I'm pregnant. But I should not be at work and have like my adrenaline running just sitting there. I shouldn't be at work and feel like an outcast. I shouldn't be looked at crazy or talked to in a unprofessional way at work. Like, these are not weird feelings to have. Like, I shouldn't feel like that, right? And this is valid.
Right,
So
right.
how do we deal with that situation? Like, do you have any advice for us or any things that we can do if we're feeling Black at work, right? And again, we're always Black, right? We are not gonna wake up a day in our life and not be Black. We're always gonna be
That's
Black.
right. That's
So
right.
I
So
feel
yeah,
that the problem we should not think of ourselves as the problem. I would think of ways like, well, how can I not do this or that so they won't say this or that to me? I don't think that's right. So, but what advice do you have on how to deal with those situations for us?
yeah. So first thing is know your abilities.
Mm,
So you know you're capable of that job. You know you're smart. You know you can do it. And they try to make you feel or question your abilities. So know that you can do
mm,
it. Know, be confident in what you're doing. You're doing everything right. They're the ones that's wrong. So that's
yeah,
the first thing.
yes.
But also, it's helpful to have sponsorship or mentorship to
Mm,
empower you, because they've been there too, so they can understand and kind of guide you through like what you should do based on that certain situation that's happening to you.
mm.
So
Okay. What should we look for in a mentor or a sponsor? Should it just be like any other Black person, or like what are we looking for? What are we need to
yeah,
should we
I
look
would
at their resume
definitely
or
I would definitely say that's a good question, and I would definitely say specifically someone in your field. So like for me, I'm in the mental health field, so I would want someone who is also in the mental health field, because a lot of times the higher you go up in a profession, the less of us you're going to see,
mm,
so
mm,
it becomes isolating.
mm,
But that next person may not be in the same company or agency or whatever as you, but they still understand because they're going through the same things, or may have, you know, who is in your field, or have similar views to you,
mm.
really to help guide you.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So
But
know
I,
that it's not right, believe in ourselves and our
mhm,
abilities, and get a mentor that is in our same field and understands like what we're going through both personally and professionally.
right. And there's some other things too, like
Hmm.
having support of people that you trust. So that's friends, family, because
Yeah.
they understand too, and you can really be yourself with those people. So
Hmm.
really, that right there is great. But then
So this is making
also,
me think we should just like overall not be afraid to like share these experiences and vent and get it
yes,
out and
yeah,
not like bottle it up and internalize it.
no,
I think.
do not do that, because that just makes everything worse for you, not for them, but for you. And
Mm.
that's when it goes back to focusing on you, because you know your values,
Yeah.
you know your ethics, and with you knowing that about yourself, then that's also going to help to allow you not to put up with the stuff that they're trying to do
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
you,
Yes. Yes. And it just goes back again to what you were saying at the beginning, is that like mental health is the start of everything. Is the start of like your whole wellness, right? Because if you're
hmm
not right up here, if you're not right like emotionally, then nothing else is going to be right for you.
right,
It's like the foundation, right? Like so our
right,
mental health is
right,
our foundation.
right.
I'm learning new things.
And the other thing that I don't want to leave out for this is to seek therapy.
Yes. There's nothing
Seek
wrong with it.
therapy.
There's nothing
Yes,
wrong with it. There's
go
nothing wrong with
and
it.
that's right. And don't stop the treatment before you're finished with what you need to work through.
And why
So
shouldn't they stop? Why shouldn't they stop the treatment? Like, I'm good.
listen,
Okay, I went to 3 sessions, Jasmine. Okay, I went to 3 sessions. I told that lady all my business. She know everything about me. She was a little nosy, but she know everything about me, and I feel a little embarrassed. And I think I'm good now. I think I'm over it. I think I'm okay. So,
right.
what do you have to say about that? Because that's how I
Yeah, yeah. 3 sessions is just the tip of the
feel.
iceberg.
That's not good enough. That's
You
the
ain't
tip.
got
I
nowhere
thought that
yet.
beginning, middle, end. Three.
So at that point, you don't even have all of the skills that you need to carry you through.
She said,
And
"Since
we
you
want
haven't
you to
started,
win.
that was just a trial run. That was the introduction."
Yeah, so what's going to end up happening is you're going to go back out there. You're like, yeah, I'm good, and then you're like going to start wondering, wow, why do I feel like this? What's
Mm,
happening? Oh, I stopped going to therapy. But a
mm,
lot of times you may feel like that. Oh my gosh, I've told all my business. Now I feel vulnerable.
mm,
That's okay. That's a normal feeling,
mhm.
and you can expect that. But over time you build trust with your therapist, and if that therapist ain't the one, that ain't the one. It's okay. Do your
Listen.
research, interview them, make sure they're good for you. That is
Yeah.
okay.
So you should feel comfortable with your therapist. I'm hearing that three sessions isn't enough. Okay, noted. All right. And so when we start feeling uncomfortable, what does that mean? Like, why are we feeling uncomfortable? Because we know we're in therapy. We know that we're seeking help. So like, why do those feelings come up?
So it's kind of like the hot seat, right? So you're
Oh,
you're sitting there and it's all about you. You're doing all the talking. So once you start giving up these secrets, these personal things that you probably have never told anybody, then
mhm,
you might be thinking, what are they going to do with this
mm,
information? Because there might have been people in your life that have, you know, told your secrets, told your business or
mm.
whatever. So you may have trust issues related to that.
Okay, yeah.
There's so many different things that it could be, and it's really based on the individual, but a lot of it has to do with just the vulnerability of just having to express. And a lot of times the stuff that you're saying to a therapist, you've never even said out loud.
Mm, mm, mm. Okay, okay. So we're going to move on to number 4. What are some concepts or framework that companies can put into place to help make their Black employees feel less scrutinized and to create a more inclusive environment at work?
All right, so with that, I would say a point or higher uh, pay, with pay them Black professionals like diversity inclusion consultants, Black counselors and therapists,
Mm-hmm.
so consultants, mediators, people who are
Mm.
outside of the company,
Third
unbiased,
party, third party,
unbiased.
unbiased. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
that's huge because a lot of times they ain't getting it if they inside the company because it's a mess. The company is a mess.
Right,
so
right.
um so I would say, have those people come in when situations arise, but I think that they should really be proactive and have trainings, quarterly
I agree.
trainings.
I agree.
And I also believe that Black support groups would be good.
Mm,
So that's where the counselors can come in.
mhm.
They can be counselors, can be the consultants too, but I think they would also be good at running a support group.
Okay. Yeah, because that just goes back to Black at work. It's really, a trauma. It's really triggering.
Mhm.
And especially if this company has to like change their whole framework. There's this concept called a racial equity framework where basically you're starting from the beginning, the foundation to realize that, your company, your business can be racially biased, like explicitly and implicitly, right? So, and that
Right.
speaks to what you're saying, having these people in place, these mediators, these third parties, these counselors in place to handle things from the beginning, and make people aware of their implicit biases, their explicit biases, to have work groups or therapy groups or whatever kind of groups to handle things like that, I think is very important. Now,
Yeah.
specifically, like, what about those that feel that well, the person doesn't have to be Black to come in and be the mediator or the counselor. Like, why is it important to have a Black professional in those positions?
Again, because a lot of times there's only a handful of us, if that. So they don't
Facts.
they can say they understand, but do they truly understand? And then are you going to really have our buy-in that we're really going to be supported?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's why it's really important for us to see us, and then we'll be more
Yeah.
comfortable to really express, like, you
Yeah.
know how we're feeling. Because a lot of times if we say, like for me personally, when I've had experiences with being Black at work, and then I voice how I feel, then it becomes oh my gosh, what? No, I'm not racist, this is not what's happening. So it's a lot of in denial happening, which is kind of like how you mentioned in that framework that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it's got to be us.
Yes. Yeah, because we know sometimes we feel, and we have 4 minutes left, you all, but I'm going to say this and go to the last question. Sometimes, there's a comfortable feeling that we automatically have with another Black person. Everybody know we walk down the street, you see another Black person, you're like, what's up? It's, you feel automatically, we share a story. It doesn't matter. I could not know you. Hey sis, so I think that adds to us feeling more welcome, safe, comfortable in a workplace that has been corporate America has historically failed Black people. So having more of us show up can make us feel safer. So question number 5, from a mental health perspective, what are some concepts we can teach our children and our youth to help make them feel included in the fight for justice?
All right, so this is like close to my heart because children are innocent.
Yes.
And they feel just like we do. They have feelings, and they're smart, so they know what's going on, even if you try to avoid it.
Look, they know more than us sometimes.
Yes, they know what's happening, but what they struggle with is expressing their feelings, and they struggle with you hiding things from them. So I would say encourage the conversation, engage them in conversation, allow their voices to be heard, tell them every day how great they are, because there's so many people out there who are going to tell them that they're not, and they might believe it. But if it starts from home and from people that they trust telling them and building them up, then they're going to become adults who are also confident and know in themselves, that they're good. So I would say, that because they need to know that a lot of times they're going to be disrespected, but they have to advocate for themselves and demand the respect.
Yes, say that, demand. And I feel like a lot of people think that word demand, especially coming from a Black person, is a bad word. But we have to demand. I like that you said that we have to demand our respect, because if you don't, people aren't just going to give it to you, And I feel also that what you were saying about speaking with the children and letting, having an open conversation, I think that's important. I know that growing up, I was shielded from a lot of conversations. My mom would talk to us openly about a lot of things, but some things we were shielded from or sheltered from. And I don't know, still trying to figure that out. But hearing what you just said makes me think that, children are going to, they're very impressionable. They're like sponges, right? And they're one day going to be an adult with those same issues, or those same, if they learn some great stuff, they're going to take that great stuff into adulthood. If they learn some bad stuff, they're going to take the bad stuff into adulthood. So I guess that would be a reason, to start while they're young, So I like that you said that, have those open conversations, because their mental health is important as well.
Right. And I don't want to forget that. I don't want to leave this out.
Yes, go ahead.
I want to say that children need therapy too. That's a lot of things. That's a lot of times people don't think about that, but children, that could be helpful for them. And it might look different. So from children that are under 12, it's play therapy, but it's something that is their type of therapy, and that works for them. And then after that is talk therapy like we have. So I think that's very important too, that if that's what they need, give it to them.
Awesome. Thank you, Jasmine. I don't want the Zoom to cut us off because it is giving me the signal that there's less than a minute. I don't know where we are on that, but I just want to say thank you, Jasmine. You can follow her at IAM2Jazzy on Instagram and Artsy Black Fam. Please pre-order her new adult coloring book. Tell us about that real quick. Give us your website.
Yes.
And you tell us
Color
about
Me. It's called Color Me Well. It's for my Black women, and it is so it's for the stressed out mamas, sisters, daughters, grandmamas.
Listen,
I want you guys to color yourself into wellness. All right, cool.
I need one for every hat I wear. Yes. Okay. So if you're on the Zoom call,
coming out this summer.
Oh, great. Coming out this summer. So make sure you follow her so you can understand and know when it drops. Everybody who is on this Zoom call gets free Rastafari hair braiding product. You will have that information in your inbox by 2 p.m. today. It's pickup only. If you have any questions, email us at info@positivewomen.